Oh my god, is this light reflecting off this cover? Holy crap. Oh, dazzlingly dazzling. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel and another video. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my Polarthon TBR, which is a readathon that Jadeyraereads created last year, and it's happening again in February. I am very excited for this because as much as I love readathons, I do tend to fail them, but I like to push myself to complete them. I like to challenge myself, and this is probably going to be an epic fail again, but it's fun. It's fun to organize the books that you want to read, and it's fun to sit down and read during the readathon. We'll just see how I go with this one. I will link her video in the description box down below, but basically this readathon is based on the polar fantasy genre, but you don't necessarily have to read polar fantasy. And this goes from the 3rd of February to the 9th of February. So it's a whole week, and you basically have 5 prompts to read in order to finish this readathon. She also has a chart, which I'll actually add in this video as well as I progress through my TBR to show you what path I'm taking. I'll pop it up here so you can get a rough idea of what it looks like, but as I progress through the TBR, I will tick off what my path is going to be. So you have to follow from one of the 3 prompts down the bottom and then follow on until you get to the very top, which is polar fantasy. So the last prompt you do has to be polar fantasy, but the rest of them do not have to be polar fantasy. So without further ado, let's get into this TBR. My path is starting in the 2nd prompt, which will be a retelling. And the book that I pick for this prompt is Heart of the Moors by Holly Black. So I was given this by Scholastic Publishing to read and review, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to incorporate this one into the readathon because I do have to read this and I do have to review it, so why not make it the first book that I read for this readathon. Basically all I know about this one is it's about Aurora, and I think it follows on from the Maleficent tale slash movie, so how they've done like the live action version of Maleficent. This follows the Aurora from that, I think. Anyway, I'll read the blurb just so you can get a rough idea of what I'm talking about. Ruling a kingdom is challenging under any circumstances, but Aurora, Queen of Perse Forest and Queen of the Moors, is reigning under the weight of 2 crowns and is determined to sign a treaty to unify humans and the fair folk. But as spiky dark flowers grow fiercely around Perse Forest's border, and a stable boy mysteriously disappears, tensions between humans and fairies are at a dangerous high. But who can she trust when it becomes apparent that an underhanded plot poses an unforeseen danger? It's up to Aurora to trust in her own heart and save her kingdom. So yes, I mean, it's definitely a retelling of sorts. I'm hoping that it's good. I don't mind Holly Black's writing as much. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. I'm hoping that I will get through it super easy. It doesn't seem like it's going to be too difficult to get through, but we'll see how I go. So on from the retelling prompt, we will go up to the intimidating prompt. This one was a little bit difficult to try and work out because there's so many books that I find intimidating, but a lot of them are like super long books, and I'm like, I don't think I'll be able to read that during this readathon. So the best one that I could come up with is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I love this series. So this is book 3 in the Illuminae Files trilogy, and I love this series. The first 2 books were phenomenal. I absolutely love the way that they are told, the way that they are set out. It's just amazing and different, and I love it. So essentially this series follows different sets of main characters. Illuminae, which is the first book, follows 2 main characters who are stuck on a ship and a virus breaks out and it's just absolute chaos. And then the second book is another sort of story, whereas the third book is another sort of story as well. So they all have their own different stories. But basically this series is set in space, so it's a sci-fi, and there's going to be romance with all of the characters in any of the books anyway. It's not a major plot point, but there's just like a lot of mystery and secrecy with like the government and everything, and all the people that are in charge of all these different missions that are happening. And it's just intriguing to me, and I don't know why I haven't read this. Like, I think I went to read it not too long ago and I didn't get very far because I wasn't in the mood to read sci-fi, and I'm not always in the mood to read sci-fi. It's a very difficult genre for me to be very invested in at the time, but I feel like this one will be good to get through for the readathon because of the way that it's set out, because these books are set out in like file form, like files and emails, a description of footage and stuff like that. So it's not set out like a normal novel. So yes, I don't know why I haven't read this yet. Probably because, again, it's a very thick book. It's not that bad when you look at all the different formats the story is told in. But yes, it does look very intimidating. And also because it's the third book, it's the third and final book in this trilogy, which means I will have finished it. And I suck at finishing series. I just put it off all the freaking time. But hopefully this will be the year that I can finish it. So my third prompt for this readathon, as we move up from intimidating, we move into icy cover. So for this prompt, it's a book I've had on my shelf for a while, and I don't know how keen I am on reading it, but it fit the prompt, so that's why I chose it. And that is Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick. I think Becca Fitzpatrick wrote the Hush Hush series. Not 100% sure, but her name is very familiar. But yeah, I've had this book on my shelf for so long and I still have not read it. I don't know when I got it, but it's just been sitting there for ages, just not being read because I'm never in the mood to read it. But I picked it because, as you can tell, it has ice on the cover. It's a very, very icy cover, and of course, ice is in the name. I don't know much about this, but it does sound quite dark and, in a way, intense. I haven't heard a lot of good things on Goodreads, you know, in the reviews, but I'm not one to judge. I will read it and then judge it for myself. But yeah, so she is the author of the Hush Hush series. It has it on the back. But basically, I'll read the blurb to you so you have some idea of what I'm talking about. Hot, cold, deadly. Britt Pfeiffer has never been very adventurous, but that's about to change. Wanting to impress her ex-boyfriend, Britt convinces her best friend Corby to take a hiking trip with her. But when a freak storm leaves the girls stranded, they seek shelter in a secluded cabin, where they find two handsome rescuers, or so they think. Britt realizes that she and Corby need to get off the mountain fast, and so begins a treacherous journey through the ice and snow. But is gorgeous mysterious Mason an enemy or an ally? Tension mounts, and it's only a matter of time before things turn deadly. I think that plot actually sounds pretty interesting, and it does look like a very, very easy and quick read, so I'm not too doubtful about this. Like, I may be able to get through it. We'll see if I get through Obsidio first. But yeah, no, I thought this fit the prompt really well because of the icy cover, and it doesn't sound too bad. It does sound very dark and mysterious, so we'll see how I go. The fourth prompt, we move up to Northern Folklore, which I found the perfect book for. I am so glad I found this one, and that is Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. I recently got this one, so it hasn't been on my shelf for ages. It still even has the price sticker on the back, because normally I take them off, but it still has it on there. And I've wanted to read this for ages. I just never got around to buying it myself, but now I finally have it, and it was pretty much the only book on my shelf that seemed to fit this prompt, so naturally I'm gonna read it. Before the beginning there was nothing. No earth, no heavens, no stars, no sky. Only the mist world, formless and shapeless, and the fire world always burning. The great Norse myths, which have inspired so much modern fiction, are dazzlingly retold by Neil Gaiman. Tales of dwarfs and frost giants, of treasure and magic, and of Asgard, home to the gods. Odin the All-Father, highest and oldest of the Aesir, his mighty son Thor, whose hammer, I never know how to pronounce this, Mjolnir, makes the mountain giants tremble. Loki, wily and handsome, reliably unreliable in his lusts, and Freya, more beautiful than the sun or the moon, who spurns those who seek to control her. From the dawn of the world to the twilight of the gods, this is a thrilling, vivid retelling of the Norse myths from the award-winning best-selling Neil Gaiman. So it's basically just a retelling of different Norse mythology tales. But I have heard some really good things about this, and I haven't read any Neil Gaiman, I don't think. But I really want to get into reading his stuff because apparently he's a really good writer, and I don't know why I haven't read his stuff yet. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to reading this. It'll be different, but I like different sometimes. Sometimes different is good. And then of course we reach the final and fifth prompt right at the very top of this path, and that is polar fantasy. Now I don't really own any polar fantasy, but I found a book that seems to fit it perfectly, and it just works well for what I need to do, which is review it. And that is Let It Go, A Twisted Tale by Jen Kalanita. I figured this would be perfect for polar fantasy because it's a Frozen retelling, and where Frozen is set, naturally this is going to be like a polar fantasy. So I really look forward to reading this. I have been very excited for this since I received it. I also got this one from Scholastic Publishing, so it's another book that I need to read and review as well. But I'm very excited. I really hope that I managed to make it through these last 4 books so I can get to this one. Following the unexpected death of her parents, Elsa finds herself the sole ruler of Arendelle, and mysterious powers begin to reveal themselves. Elsa starts to remember fragments of her childhood that seem to have been erased. Pieces that include a familiar-looking girl. Determined to fill the void she has always felt, Elsa must take a harrowing journey across her icy kingdom to undo a terrible curse and find the missing princess of Arendelle. So this is a twisted tale. What if Anna and Elsa never knew each other? I think this sounds awesome, and I love Frozen. The second movie was amazing. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, you need to see it already. I think this is perfect for polar fantasy. So I look forward to giving it a go. Well, there you have it, guys. These are my books for the Polarthon TBR. I doubt I'm going to make it through all 5, but I'm definitely going to try and see how I go. I may vlog it. I don't know if I will. We will see how I go with it. But I'm very much looking forward to reading these ones. It seems like a really fun readathon, and yeah, if you are going to join in on this readathon too, please let me know on this video or on Twitter or Instagram or wherever you happen to follow me. I'd be happy to see what you have put on your TBR as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, the usual stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!